We're doing DEX build invasions today. Say hi, baby.
Hi.
So, on paper, DEX is the worst damaging stat. So, damaging stats, you got Strength, you got DEX, you got Intelligence, Faith, and Arcane. So, a basic, standard build is you want to get your Vigor up first. That's the most important stat. Sub-level 80, and maybe even before, you're going to want to get your Vigor up to level 40. And then after around 90, level 90, you're going to want to get it to 60 as quick as possible. But after that, that's when you want to meet... Of course, there's the minimum requirements of your weapon, of course. That's even more important than Vigor. It's useless if you don't meet the weapon requirements to your weapons and spells. But after the Vigor and that, then you're going to want to pretty much dump into your damaging stat, which typically you just have one stat that you use. And then if you have a few extra points, you can put it into Endurance, and as for Mind, you never want to level Mind.
Mind! Yeah, don't be like Elon Musk. He definitely messed up with his stats and his character.
Well, yeah, he's genuinely a very dumb person, so of course he doesn't know how to do an Elden Ring build. He posted it to Twitter and everything, felt so proud, and he leveled up a lot of Mind, although that wasn't even the worst thing about his build. But yeah, typically you don't want to level Mind. I think on this channel once, maybe it was even the last video that I posted, I leveled Mind up a little bit. Sometimes you can justify doing it a little bit, but for the most part, Mind is just kind of a wasted stat.
You know, maybe he just wanted to gloat, like, you know, look at my big mind, look at my intelligence, you know, and at the end of the day, it's like, you're just dumb.
Yeah, I think that's genuinely what happened. I don't like, he's such a narcissist. I think that's actually what happened. If you are unfamiliar with this, around the time Elden Ring first came out, Elon Musk, who was at the time obsessed with being perceived as like a gamer because he's a narcissist and he's obsessed with the groups that he likes, seeing him as good at everything, and one of those was gaming. And it was to the point where, even in a different game, I forget what it was some online game, that he actually was paying people to play it for him, and then when he played it on stream, it was obvious that he didn't know how to play the game, especially for like the amount of like how good his character was in that game. We get sidetracked easily. We both have ADHD. So after your damaging stat, you're gonna want to do Endurance. And again, this is like your standard build. You can obviously deviate from this a lot. I definitely have...
Deviate from the plan!
Deviate from the plan.
Oh my god.
That's a stim. Got another stim. But yeah, you can deviate from this a little bit, but that's, if you're new to builds, that's where you're going to want to start, with that basic template there. And on paper, DEX is the worst, because it doesn't get the two-handed damage bonus the same way Strength does, and you can't use spells. Like, if your damaging stat is Intelligence or Faith, obviously you can use that for spells as well. So for DEX, it's usually, on paper, you would think it'd be just good for your secondary stat. Like, if your level gets high enough, you can then couple it with either Intelligence, Arcane, Endurance, or it's not Endurance, Faith, and it would increase the casting speed, and that would be usually like your secondary damaging stat. But it is actually a good primary damaging stat, sub-level 80. For one, you get to use a shield, one-handed, and there's a lot of weapons in this game that, you know, aren't really that much better two-handed. And if you're doing a DEX build, that's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to pick a weapon that is just as good, if not better, one-handed as it is two-handed. And this weapon you see me using right here, the Swordspear, the Guardian Swordspear, it's one-handed. You can do a jumping attack R2, and if it hits an opponent, you're guaranteed to follow up with a regular R1. That's called a true combo, if you don't know. True combo means that once you start, the combo, it can't be gotten out of. Like, they can't. It doesn't matter if they spam roll, spam attack. Once that jumping R2 hits with one hand, you are guaranteed to get a one-handed R1.
But it is okay if you never use a shield, like me, because I'm just a girl. I never use a shield, even though I have it. I have it on my character. I just use whatever I have, except a shield.
I think you would actually do really well with the shield. I think you should definitely try it out. Oh, that was an example of impaling thrust being better than piercing fang right there. Did you just make a noise at impaling thrust again? So impaling thrust, I used it here. This is old footage, so this was back when I was still kind of experimenting with stuff. But if you can use, obviously it's up to preference, but if you can use piercing fang over impaling thrust, you're almost always going to want to do it. Piercing fang ignores shields completely. It's got a longer distance. It uses less stamina, which I kind of feel like is a mistake, and that's like the big tipping point for me, is the fact that impaling thrust uses like a lot more stamina than you would think, and I almost think that they kind of reversed it. But yeah, it's just the thing that's impaling thrust has over piercing fang. Like, it's one thing is its startup is a lot faster and harder to read. Obviously, the piercing fang is very telegraphed. Like, they raise your weapon above your head. But usually, you're going to be using those moves. You like that?
I sure did.
You like my little edits?
He's like, hey!
Yeah, you're typically going to want to use that as like a follow-up to an end of a combo. You're not going to usually use it in the middle. I mean, you can, but yeah, it's certainly up to preference. But if a weapon can use piercing fang instead of impaling thrust, I'll almost always choose piercing fang.
You know, not for nothing, but if I were fighting you in this invasion or in any of the ones that you've shown up to now, I would be very annoyed at those spears. Oh my god, that seems annoying.
You know, it is actually really hard to hit people with those spears. That's why I love doing it. You really wouldn't think it would be that difficult. I make it look easy. That's what's going on.
It looks annoying. Like, if I am, taking space.
Speaking of annoying, whenever you hit people with fan daggers, they get so mad. Look at them spamming the throwing daggers at me. All right, sorry to interrupt. What were you saying?
No, but it's just annoying because like you take space to be able to heal or like regroup or like kind of like plan your next attack, and then here you are just throwing stuff. Like no, I'd probably get so mad that I'd probably also spam whatever I had towards you. So yeah.
Yeah, it does definitely more psychological damage than actual damage. I kind of want to do a whole build around it because I think it's arcane scaling.
Of just throwing stuff?
Of doing the spectral lance, the throwing spear that you're talking about. Kind of want to do a build of just that because I really like it. It's not good to be clear. Like, yeah, you can get those windows when they're healing, like you're saying. And it's really fun to do, but it's not good. So the build wouldn't be good. It would just be really fun. Yeah. And they've since the DLC, they've also I think have at least one talisman that's improved it. Yeah, they have something that increases throwing attacks. So you can do the throwing attack plus Alexander Shard, which increases all Ashes of War. You probably actually get good damage at it because you do arcane. So maybe it could be okay, but it doesn't change the fact that it's just still really hard to hit with that thing.
Yeah, you'd probably play with it for a little bit, get your kicks out here and there, but eventually when you start seeing that it takes too long to kill the host, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, I'm done. I need a better build.
Yeah, I probably would. Probably only get a few hours invasion. So make a good video though. That was actually good as now that I'm making these videos, it's actually I find myself thinking like, oh, would this make a good video? Because I'm trying to get away from Flaming Strike. I even used it once in this video. I think it only used it in one invasion. But now that I'm editing all these videos, it's like, wow, I use Flaming Strike a lot. The Ash of War that sets it on fire, you know, it's really good because it just gives you, especially at lower levels, because it's not only a good Ash of War, but it gives you a flat buff for I think 45 seconds. That's like, even at higher levels, it's not insubstantial. I think it's 85 fire damage just on it, and obviously at lower levels, because it doesn't change no matter how much you upgrade the weapon. It's always 85 just flat fire damage on top of it. And you can add it to weapons that can't normally be buffed, so that's why I end up using it so often. Same with the Sacred Blade. Sacred Blade's the same way, it's just holy instead of fire. But because I use it so much, I'm like, oh, people are going to get sick of constantly seeing that, so... Right now I'm using a weapon type that I wouldn't normally use. I'm using a Twin Blade. And typically I was going to put another katana on it, but katanas, once again, it's like, wow, I got a lot of clips of me using katanas. People are sick of it, I'm sure.
Seems like you have a type, huh?
Yeah, I sure do. There is definitely stuff that I like to do over and over. But...
I know.
Like what? You know what? Like what? What stuff do I like to do over and over? Actually, don't say it. We don't want to. We don't want
You saw it in my eyes.
She was going to say it.
I sure was.
She was going to go into great detail.
No, I wasn't going to go into great detail. I was just going to say one word.
Okay. Well, we don't want the YouTube algorithm, you know, picking that up and being like, oh, well, you can't share this video around.
You can guess what he likes to do over and over.
Play Elden Ring.
Exactly, that's why we're making all these videos.
So with DEX, even if you aren't using spells, like I'm not here, I obviously can like put a talisman on to use them, but that's just when I get a break. It's great to have a shield. Shields are really, really good in this game, and people don't seem to realize. Really good in both PvP and PvE, and they're actually a lot more fun than you would think, because you think, oh, like, oh, a shield, that's not fun, you're just blocking, but give it a try. Also, integrate jumping. You won't see it a lot in this clip, because, again, these are old clips, so I'm not quite as good. But jumping, especially in PvE, is really, really good. So if you don't know, it turns off your leg, like your character model's hitbox on their legs. So it kind of essentially gives iframes to so many moves in the game, because you know your entire lower body is just invincible. And like they really expected you to do it a lot in PvE. So there's so many attacks. If you see anything that's primarily hitting the ground in PvE, chances are that's like a signal that the developers are giving to you that like you can jump instead of dodging this attack, and it's just so much more forgiving. And obviously jump attacks in this game are really too good, honestly, especially in PvP, because it's just like so often the best thing to do is a jump attack. And at this time, when these clips were captured, jumping attacks were super, super annoying and broken. Luckily, they nerfed those quite a bit, but they're still very strong. So these clips were taken a few years before the DLC even came out. And at this time, I cared way, way too much about being optimal. And I'm so glad that the DLC, when I remember the first like month it was out, it was actually like driving me crazy, and this is probably due to the OCD. I was just like, oh, I can't do this build because I have to wait until I get to the DLC, and that's just so long. Because like if I didn't have any spell buffs and I needed to use a grease, the greases in the DLC are just better. So I'd be like, oh, well, I don't want to do that build because I'm going to need to wait all the way till the DLC to do it. And it's like, oh, well, I can't really do level 85 builds because it's really hard for me to get to the DLC. Like, I have a really hard time beating Moog at, like, level 85. Like, it's really, really hard for me. But eventually I just kind of was like, maybe I should just stop caring as much. I don't need to have my build be at 100% all the time. It's okay to be even at 80%. You can just be chill about this game. It's not a fighting game. It's not a super competitive game. I can just have fun with it.
I hope you remember this the next time I pick a fashion. I really hope you remember these words, because I will pull up this video and make you listen to it if you ever tell me again that I need to be more balanced in my fashion.
There's a limit.
Now there's a limit.
Okay, if you're nerfing yourself like crazy, there is a limit.
Do I look pretty?
I said 80%,
Do
not
I look
60.
Pretty? Do I look pretty?
You sure do.
Then that's all that matters.
But there's a big difference between dying and 4 hits versus 3.
Am I dying though?
Yes.
Shut up.
A lot.
You were supposed to say no.
Like a lot.
Leave me alone. Now you're bullying me.
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely a lot more freeing when you just let go of that mentality of I just need to be optimal. I can't be at any kind of disadvantage, and it's such a silly mentality because it's like I'm playing as an invader. I'm always at a disadvantage. Look, this clip you're seeing right now, there's 3 guys here. It does not matter if my build is 10% better. I mean, maybe sometimes it will. Maybe sometimes you'll end an invasion with 20 HP, but how often does that happen? If you're winning an invasion, it's because of skill. You can have the best build in the world, and it usually doesn't matter unless it's like a really, brain dead build jumping R1s, but they've patched a lot of the really broken stuff out. So skill is really the thing that decides it. So, just be relaxed about it.
Just have fun.
Yeah, just have fun. And I feel like I'm telling people this and they're like, yeah, of course, because I have OCD. So if there's anybody else with OCD out there,
we see you.
Yeah, we see you. Just relax. just chill out. So one thing I will never get over, my OCD simply won't allow it, is I always have to be the most optimal when it comes to the starting class. So you can change your stats with a larval tier. At Renala, I think her name is, the mage lady of Ray Lucaria. But you can't change your starting class, and the starting class actually matters quite a bit for stats. So certain builds, like let's say you want to do I don't know, Faith Arcane build, there's just going to be starting classes that are just going to be a lot better for that. So if you wanted like 40 DEX, 40 Arcane, on like a sorcerer, I'm just making up things, I don't know if this is true, but like on like a sorcerer, that same build might not be able to be done until like level 140, whereas if you did it on a hero, you might do it like as soon as like level 128. It can actually make a pretty big difference with some stuff. So that's something that I will not allow myself to do. Like if a starting class can do it, maybe I can like let one level go, but if it's like a 5 level difference, like I can't let that go.
It's funny because I've noticed how, my husband has become less and less anal about his character build. Obviously when it comes to facial features and body, he spends hours on that, but now he is like less anal in terms of what weapons he's using, right, and what spells he's using. I've seen him like now not necessarily do it for the optimal number, but if not just for the fun of it. Like, let's see how this goes. Let's see how this weapon plays. Let's see like the movements, right, or the graphics of it. Just trying to see it for more than just a number in the weapon and see it as part of the artistry of the gameplay, and I think that's very interesting. I would like to think that it's because of my carelessness in my gameplay, because I definitely do not take into account anything other than what is cute and pretty for my character. Again, I'm the scavenger, I am not the fighter. But, you know, my husband is the one that inputs all of the information in terms of the character stats, the build, and everything.
I do her character for her.
So he does all of that, and he just, you know, builds my character so that I can play in a more effective way, and I can, you know, just wear pretty things.
Yeah. So the tool I use for this is Elden Ring Build Calculator and Character Planner. You can just, if you just type in Elden Ring Character Planner into Google, there's like 2 websites that are good, but the one I just named is the one that I prefer. And it'll let you know if your starting class is the optimal one. You can just like do the stats that you want and then change the starting class rate from there, and then just pick the one that's the lowest. So if you have the foresight, like you're starting a new playthrough, like, oh, I'm going to do this build. But yeah, that's a great tool. And comment on tips you have for builds, because I gave you like the general idea what I do for like a standard build, like, you know, doing the vigor, damage stat, and minimal requirements. But I found that something I didn't do as much that I do more now, I like actually just discovered this, is endurance is actually like more important than I thought it was. Like, it's pretty good, not just for the stamina, but the extra equip load is very nice in PvE and PvP. And something it took me a while to notice is past like level 60, you're usually better off with an incantation build, having it dumping into arcane rather than faith. So you use the faith stat just to meet the minimum requirements for your spell, but after that, you're better off using arcane and then using the dragon communion seal. So let me know if there's any more like little tips like that, like something I'm not seeing, since you've gotten most of my build philosophy in this video. How are you doing, baby?
I'm just stimming in my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
my baby's been sick this whole video, and we've been keeping it a secret because I hate YouTubers when they are like, right at the beginning of the video, they're like, oh, I'm sick, I got a cold. And it's like, well, I didn't notice until you told me, and now I hear it the entire video, and oftentimes it makes me click off. So we saved it at the end. She's been sick, and that's why if you've noticed, that's why she sounds weird. So what's that stim you're doing in your brain, baby?
Oh my god, it's relentless. Dumb ways to die.
Right, that's enough of that. Don't want to get picked up by the YouTube algorithm and demonetized.
Jeez, it's been ongoing. Like the whole video, every time you would use the spear or you would end a character, that would just pop into my brain.
End a character.
Yeah. what?
That's how I win PvP. I am ending your character.
You know,
I should send him a voicemail as hate mail doing that.
I do get very, very frustrated when you are constantly making fun of my selection of words. Sometimes I don't pick the best words because Spanish is my first language, so he loves making fun of me for that.
Okay, say goodbye.
Bye!